Is this coming through okay? Mic correct volume. Uh-oh. Is this
Okay.
coming through okay? Mic. All right. What's up, Slim? So what do I think about the uproar by SNES fans over Crisis using chip? The devs are getting a lot of backlash. Can you explain a little bit? Because I can't quite understand why there would be any backlash at all. Devs added a chip in the game in order to, I think, enhance the audio or something, and possibly even increase the frames per second. So I can't understand why that would be a bad thing, but maybe I'm missing something. Hey, look, white balance. That worked. Stream seems way. I mean, I guess it's okay. Let me know if you can't hear anything or if you need me to change anything. So far, so good. Yeah. I just want to take some quick video and shots of this just to kind of show it off. Really, it's a 9-inch BVM. It's got the rare 4x3 bezel on it. Reproductions will be coming soon. Very nice quality ones. In fact, I might just want to show that off today if there's any. No, do it. This is the first time ever shown. Ever. I'm going to give anybody who suffered through just a chill, laid back live stream with no real purpose, I'm going to give you all just a little sneak preview at what's coming. Uh, Now, there is going to be replacement ones coming too. However, limited edition clear transparent ones as well, 4x3 bezels. That's just a sneak peek for anybody who decided to come hang out with me today. Hey, what's up, Rent? How you doing? Thank you so much for the chat. Brent went with their dad to his ENT appointment. They had a Sony 20M2U PM. What's a nice way to ask if I could buy it or just take it off their hands? I'm just always honest. I'm just always saying, hey, are you still using that? Is that something I could just I could take away for you? We use those for gaming still, so and depending on the doctor's office, some will be like, sure, I paid 5,500, so I'll give it to you for 5,200, and others will be like, I don't know why you want it. Get it the heck out of here. Oh, yeah, see-through head. That's one of the things I also want to show is some tricks that I've used. And it's funny, there's always somebody on social media that sees some of the stuff that I show and explains to me why I'm doing it wrong when they've never done it before. So I kind of want to show it again because I had one this exact size, shape, and weight make it from East Coast US to West Coast Canada perfectly using the same method. So I'm gonna just take a little bit of video of this thing just to kind of show it. Wait, I should set this to autofocus. So they all have the removable bezels. These down here, it's the controllers built right in. You can still use external controls if you want through that front remote port. These do audio pass through as well. And this one has two cards. It has the original 129X RGB or component video input and the 120D SDI card. There's one more slot if you want to use one of Martin's reproductions, so you get SCART in there if you wanted. These are really, really temperamental, though. Not this one. All D9H5Us are pretty temperamental. So if you wanted to use the 129X and the 129X replacement, there would be just as many issues to 129Xs. So that's on this monitor. That's not on Martin's replacement. And I don't even think it's an issue with the 129X. I think the software on here is a little finicky. But the reason you would go through this much trouble is because they support 240p, 480i, 480p, 720p, and 1080i. This also has the original official Sony power supply. I'm trying to do this one-handed from the wrong angle. Uh, So this is the official good one. You can get aftermarkets that are fine, but I like to use the original when possible. It's also the direct 12-volt DC in. I believe you can get battery packs. I think Shank has a battery pack for his. And that's the rear control board as well. I want to show this off, the quality as well. The bad part is it's got some writing on it, but I'm sure you can get that off if you have some kind of cleaner. I want to leave that up to the person buying this, because what if I like scuff this up and it's worse than just having some Sharpie on it? I'd rather leave that up to the person who's buying it to make that decision. But good quality overall. Screen's in good shape. Um, Bottom of it's also in good shape. Nothing special, but it does have this neat kickstand. I always forget they have these. And the funny thing is, we were sitting at the show checking this one out. Steve RetroTech was helping me out, double checking that this one was okay, and it actually had bad solder joints on the neck board, which he fixed. And I kept propping it up so we could see it, forgetting that there was a kick there. So that was kind of silly. Let me check the chat, and then let me show the other thing I wanted to show. So Slim said they guess the SNES fans think Xeno Crisis is more complex than Smash TV. What are they trying to do? These so-called fans think that Bitmap Bureau is trying to force them to buy an SNES cartridge? I don't get that. I think that's just little trolls. I could be wrong, but that just sounds kind of dumb to me. Not you, by the way. I know you're. I'm not shooting the messenger here. I'm just letting you know. Um, yeah. What size is your PVM again, Belmont? Hey, Daniel. Thank you. And also, I saw DJM. I am still sick. I think what happened was I ended up zero as well. I ended up getting some kind of stomach bug on Monday. And I think what happened was I just got hydrated. That hit me hard a couple days later. But we'll see. I might not make it all the way through this, but I'll try. Um, Bob's always streaming his 9-inch. What the gosh. Anthony, what's a good deal on one of these days? Well, condition. That's the key. Condition and features. So this has both of the boards. This has the 4x3 original bezel, which is important if you like stuff that's just all original. But this also is working well. And that's kind of a problem, because you can get these with a 16x9 bezel that works for like $400, but it's got a ton of issues. By the way, this is the other thing I wanted to show off. Here is that NES shell with the clear buttons. I'm going to try to get a good shot of that as well. Hopefully the real Phoenix will show up at some point, because I was having so much trouble with this, only to find out it was just the 72-pin connector. And for the record, Jose put a brand new 72-pin connector on it, but some of them are just bad from the factory. So, yeah, see, that has those incredible power and reset buttons on there. Those just look amazing. In fact, let me try to get a little closer so we get kind of a cooler looking white boxy shot here. Liking that. Probably pull that. Yeah, all right. So let's get focus. That looks really cool. I want to check again as well. Let me back here. Uh, so the thing that I always loved about that I liked and didn't like about this is a gorgeous clear case that I'll show off in a second. But since the controller inputs in this plastic piece black, the clear piece here looked good, but I liked it better like this. But then now you have something that's all clear with some black stuff in front, which is awesome, but two gray buttons. So someone at Retro World Expo dropped off these buttons for me to test out, and holy crap, it makes it look absolutely amazing. I just think this is so cool looking. The the crystal clear shell. I mean, this is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You can see everything. You can see the real Phoenixes. No cut mod that has S video and the Genesis 2 DIN in there as well. The bottom of it. Let me try to. Also, it has the cutout if you wanted the SNES multi out. Let me autofocus real quick. Hope that's working. That cutout's there. There's also bottom, so you could see the NES RGB mod in it. I think that is really cool as well. Jose's awesome work in there. Yeah, this is really cool. Let me grab a game just to show. Why not? Got 5-screw duck hunt. So we'll put that in. I think that looks really, really cool. Check the chat, see if he has any. Chrono of Mana, what's a good place to get one without over? Hey, always follow Steve Retrotech if you subscribe to his page all the time. Belmont, it's a 13-inch. It should be doable. You're going to need to double box it like I am. You're just get bigger boxes and cost a bunch. Double boxing, definitely. Now you can't hide weed in the bottom compartment because your mom can see through it. Pretty sure you can smell it. Yeah. Ah, what's up, Shank? Actually, I'm getting back to tubing in a moment. Uh, well, you know what? Let me take this out. I do that one-handed with a brand new 72 pin connector. Probably wasn't the best idea, but all right. So let's take the light box down and let's just start testing. Probably going to need it a little higher up. Crank thing. I haven't used this particular tripod in a while. My other one's currently set up with something else at the moment. Also, I can't seem to find my AC adapter for this camera. So I have batteries that I'm just gonna keep swapping them out as they die. Pretty sure Ash stole it, but you know, you got to do what you got to do. ISO a little bit as well, because we're not using a white box anymore. I don't want it to look kind of funky, so let's go. So, is my audio cutting out? I'm sorry. Hopefully that's better. I just moved the mic a little bit. So for Xenocrisis, I was under the impression that it needed a secondary chip in order to run at a full 60 frame per second. And without that chip, it could still run, but just not at 60 frames per second. So that's why they need another chip in there. And I could be wrong about all that. I don't know the team personally. I've talked to them a few times. They all seemed very nice. But that was what I was under the impression this was all about, making sure that the frame rate was 60, just like all the other versions. because they didn't want people to buy the SNES version and have it be at 30 when Genesis, Neo Geo, Dreamcast, and all the others were. That's not really autofocusing that well, is it? There we go. Get a good shot of that other towel that I worked on with Shank when he was here. Up. Now this one has the 129X card has auto termination built in. So if you don't have the 75 ohm termination, it'll still work fine. And if you do, it'll also work fine. So you don't actually even have to worry about it. Power cord, excuse my butt. Power cord's right here. Yes, you have, Shank. You have. Well, not be very funny if this thing just suddenly didn't work. Need power for the NES right here. Have everything else I need. Well. So status. Oh, this is odd. It says operation time 19584. This thing had like 3,000 hours on it. That's very strange. Wonder if I did something in testing? Because I had two of these and both had like 3,000 hours on them. Both were actually really unused. Odd. Shank, did you switch my D when you were here? Hey, what's up, Steve? Yeah, Steve, this is the one that you fixed the neckboard on. I was just telling all the awesome people in the chat about that. You did that live right at the show in front of everybody. Steve, do you remember there being it's operation time 19,000 hours on this thing? I have two of them, and both were 3,000 hours, and I've only ever had two. I don't. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I've had so many freaking monitors, but I honestly can't remember ever having a third D9. And I don't think I ever traded mine or anything like that. So I have no clue what that was all about. Bit flip, cosmic rays. I mean, I've seen weirder. I wouldn't I wouldn't say no. Not likely. Yeah, that's so weird. I mean, I could be remembering wrong, but it's not something I would get wrong. But I guess all that really matters is the is how it looks. Because one of the things, Steve, have you ever proven this? I thought for sure there were some BVMs that if you left them on but in standby mode, they counted that as hours, even though the tube wasn't actually in use. Because I have an E series with like 100,000 hours on it that looks absolutely perfect in every way. And there's no way that tube actually was used for that period of time. It's just, there's no chance. So I wondered what the heck that was all about. I have this game here. Let's give this a try. Okay, so I must not have it set to the right stuff. So let's go back. Input configuration. Yeah, it was set to the wrong format. The slots, that should just work now. Not. Ah, the external sync button wasn't lit. So this is a problem I constantly have with D9s. You have to mess with them before they start working properly. This was on both of mine, and this was also on a couple of my friends as well, and on the D14H, that one as well. So I could try Nomad just to double check that it's not something. Because with if you really want that the Real Phoenix's mod to be a no cut mod, you do have to trim the cable. Maybe I trimmed too much of the cable. Let's see. Yeah, the A series gives the operational time and the turn on time. That was pretty much it. Grabbing a different SCART cable real quick. It'd be a bummer if the monitor turned out to not even be working properly. This would be a much shorter stream. Hey, the Real Phoenix, what's up? Yeah, I was just telling everybody how when I kept having problems with that one, these last few were not yours. That was the problem. It was the 72 pin connector. All right, so now it's working through the Nomad, getting this craziness. Yeah, this is 100% typical with all of these gems, every one of them. Power them off, power them back on. Once you get them working, they'll usually be okay for a while. But anybody that's owns one, anybody, if there's anybody in the chat that owns one of these, shaking their head right now. And power off. Input, RGB, kernel, audio input. Yep. I have the colors correctly. Green, blue, red. Yes. Sync is in there. Is my cable a little weird? Well, damn. I guess I could try component video too. Let's see, program the second as component and see what happens. All right, I guess it already is. All right, so let's throw some HD RetroVision cables in there and see what happens with component. Hey, what's up, Monty? Thank you very much for the super chat. And yeah, I'm sort of feeling better, but trying to here, maybe that's better with the mic. I just turned it up a little bit. Can I try S video? And this one only has SDI and component, component RGB. Where am I? Now I got my. No, not here. Looking for my RCA adapters. Here we go. A big old box of them. Is it plugged into the first slot? Yes, definitely. If this doesn't work, what I could try doing is just removing all the slots and everything. Yeah, it's exactly what I was thinking next, Cenk. And I actually don't know why anybody would want the SDI card. at least not in gaming. You know, for if you were still working in video production or something, fine. But I can't imagine the person who's getting this would ever actually connect an SDI card, assuming it's still working. I don't know why it wouldn't be all of a sudden, but we shall see. All right, red, blue, green. Okay. Could very well be my SCART connector then, because that fired right up without absolutely any hesitation. Yeah, that looks absolutely perfect. Screen looks in focus. So let me just try this again with the SCART connector, and kind of go from there, because it. I mean, I've had the SCART to BNC adapter for years, and I've been, you know, between multiple houses, and I've been beaten up on it. So you never know. All right, let's get these out. Well, that's good. At least we know the monitor's good. Blue. Oh, ha, ha. Y'all see that? Ha, ha, ha. That's the problem. Okay. Well, that's really good news. Not gonna lie, that made me a little nervous. But let's go to roll test. Let me zoom in for everybody. If you see it jumping, it's because of the bad connector. I gotta fix that thing. All right. You know, the reflections of my house aside here, we could zoom in and see. This sucker's looking pretty good. No jumping, no wiggling, no nothing. All right, so let's try the NES again, just to see what happens. I mean, I can't imagine that would be bad all of a sudden when it's just working, but you know. Classic SCART moment. It is retro gaming cables, but I'm not throwing shade. This cable's 10 years old, probably. Whenever they started printing the labels that way is when that started happening. So let's check out NES. Oh man, maybe I spoke too soon about that 72 pin connector. Doot, doot. All right, I'm gonna grab a different game. You know what's so funny is this thing was working just perfect the other day. The NES, not even on this monitor, on multiple, and I was just kind of thinking like, oh man, imagine if it was just the 72 pin connector the whole time. And now I don't know. Now I'm starting to wonder. All right, let's see. We got Contra. I'm gonna grab Contra. Oh boy. So I think I know what must be wrong with this. Either there really is a bad CPU in here, which I seriously doubt, because this thing was just it was running for like 2 hours the other day. I wonder if the contacts on the NES motherboard that the 72-pin connector connects to are really oxidized and need some more scuffing. Because remember, those connectors aren't like the ones inside of a cartridge. Those don't have the same coating because they weren't meant for, constant inserting and unplugging of these things. Yeah. All right. Well, BVM's working. Let's get this thing packed up, and if we still have time at the end, I could test that or the NES a little more. Man, that sucks. All right, I'm gonna move this over here where it's nice and out of the way, not gonna get scuffed. Let me put the Nomad away as well, actually. Hey Dan, thanks so much for the super chat. At least you're not using a blinking light win. Yeah, that is pretty awesome. Steve, you really do. This thing is gorgeous. I showed it before, but this is the one. Here, hold on. Let me get this out of the way so I could show you real quick. I don't know if you were at the booth when that guy came over and gave me the clear buttons, but look how amazing these things look. I mean, let me just get that back in focus here again. Yeah, look at that. That is just nuts. So you have the clear buttons, you have the black front, you have everything else. I mean, this is just absolutely killer. You can see the awesome installation there. I mean, this is absolutely, this is just too cool. If you have a yellowed NES shell, like I couldn't think of a better replacement than this. All right, so I got a couple boxes and I have a couple of ideas. Let me set this thing back to autofocus. Not gonna work for us. All right. So the first thing that I'm gonna do, obviously, take the power supply off. And let me get the NES stuff out of the way as well, just so I could, we'll separate that and then we'll come back to the NES later. But I also think that I should remove these cards when I'm packing this thing up, because I don't want it pushing up against the circuit boards inside. And I do realize that, anything could push up against the inside of this, but I just think one less thing putting pressure as it wiggles around is probably a good thing. And I'm pretty sure I have anti-static bags big enough for all of these anyway. So no pressure here, no pressure there. I found a box that I think is perfect for the inner box, and y'all are gonna laugh at this one. I stole this one from a friend of mine's because the size was just too perfect not to. It's it's what Voltar wears to bed. Yeah, back a little bit. How is it for fingerprints? Not bad. We tried that. If you want to check out the other stream that we did, that was actually really great for that. I tried smudging it up as best as I could, and it didn't really smudge. So for the inner box, this is going to be great. I need to protect the screen, and I want to protect the rear a little bit, but that was like, it was like somebody at Pampers decided they wanted to carry their BVMs in it. So here I got more. So Yeah, I think I like this. I'm always tempted to put something cloth in front of there as well. I don't know if that actually makes a difference. I don't know, Steve, what do you think? Would you, because remember, this is the inner box. I'm not throwing it in the in the diaper box and shipping it. I think what I'm gonna do, because these are on the front to protect that here. Let me put this in and see how I could kind of finagle this. Will it go around both sides? Yeah, it actually is. Let me put that there. Put this in the back. So we have it protecting the front and the back. I want to put some thin ones on the side. And if anybody's just joining, this is the inner box. Inner, as in multiple boxes. So don't worry, I'm not slapping a label on this. Funny you mentioned that, Steve. I will get to that in a second. Is it worth it to pick up a Panasonic CT34WX50? Yeah, that's, I think, Shank, isn't that the one that you have? I think those are excellent. Even though this is only the inner box, I still just don't want the sides having all the pressure. I want some kind of bubble. Let me try it like this. Yeah, it's going in much easier. I want some kind of bubble protection on the sides, just to get a little bit of the shock out of it. If not if, when it gets bounced around. You all seen what happens to these. Add some more to the side here. And then I'm just going to jam a whole bunch up top. Nope. Not enough. Yeah. You don't want it shifting at all. And since this is the inner box, it doesn't even really matter if it's bulging, because we're going to be taking care of that in a bit. All right, so let's try this again. Now, where is it shifting the most? I think maybe instead of the thinner one, then I should use the thicker one up top. Kevin, if that's the one I'm thinking of, it's the 34-inch version of the one that I have. I have the 30-inch, and I think Shank has the same one. It is not a good monitor for 240p. There really aren't any HD CRTs there aren't any common ones that are. But if your goal is 480i or 480p, or I guess 1080i, if you're a weirdo like Shank, then it is absolutely awesome. All right, let's try it with a bigger one. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. All right. nothing is shifting in there at all. But I don't know if this has happened to any of you, but I have had packages arrive as if they were underwater before. And that's heartbreaking. So we essentially have professional grade saran wrap here. So I'm going to wrap this inner package with this a couple times. A bunch of times, actually. Let's do it a little gently because I don't want to bounce around a perfectly good working CRT. I will not be shipping that SCART to PNC adapter with it. How horrible would that be if you spent a whole bunch of money on a BVM that's in great condition, that is multi-format, that could fit in your, fit behind the seat of your car. You plug it in and you go, oh my God, it's broken. It's dead in shipping, just to find out it's the $20 adapter that's 10 years old that went bad. All right. Now we go across this way. Steve, if you're still here, do you think I should ship the power supply and cards in a different box? Because I was planning on doing that, but if you've done this before and you're like, no, just, make sure you bubble wrap those two, and, I'll listen. But I just thought a double shipment might actually have been a better thing to do. I guess if nothing else, if the monitor gets destroyed in shipping, I could, but the other stuff doesn't, at least I could still recoup some of the major loss. Okay. Yeah, it's safe I should pack it separately. Cool. Thanks, Steve. Standing directly in front of the camera again. I always do that. All right. So we get that part set. Okay, done. Stick a label on it. Now let me grab the other one. We'll go from there. And I'll keep an eye on the camera. I think the battery's getting low, but I have another battery. Oh, wait, no, battery's basically dead. Let me swap that out right now. I'm going to keep talking. Hopefully the stream doesn't go crazy or drop or something. We'll find out in a second, though. But I still really wonder what I did with the power supply to this thing. We're back? I think we're back. And we're back. All right, cool. So I think the best thing to put it in is going to be this box, which is twice the size of it. In fact, I think I'm going to have to raise up the, you know what? I'm going to I'm going to put the lens cap back on because I have to raise all the stuff on this, and I don't want to make everybody seasick who happens to be watching. Give me a second here. My apologies. I'll keep talking just so everybody knows it's not yet another dead Bob stream. Uh-oh. Now it says the battery cannot be used. What are you talking about, camera? It's a good battery. There we go. Okay. That other one's charging too. No, it says this battery cannot be used. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much, Panasonic Lumix. Well, I guess I'm going to have to switch over to the webcam then, which is going to be okay. Let's, y'all going to have to give me a second. I'm really sorry. I thought just having 2 batteries would have solved this issue, but not my luck today again. Hopefully it's not killing the stream or anything. I mean, it's starting back up, and then... Alright, maybe I'm lucky. Maybe I'm going to get lucky. Yeah, the software for this camera was made on the Unity engine, so there you go. Alright, so this should be good, and there should be some more packing material left in this as well if we need it. There is an extra cardboard thing, which I'm going to put on the bottom, because it's obviously much easier to add stuff to the top than the bottom. And there's some foam, some styrofoam that we could use. So, I think this was for like a flower pot or something. But the good news about using a box that you shipped a giant heavy flower pot in is that it could handle a heavier monitor. I'm putting that right. Okay. This is a very thick and heavy duty box as well. I'm not sure if that's coming out or obvious in the stream. And then we have some badass bubble wrap. This is the good stuff, the expensive stuff. So when you all bubble wrap something, do you put it on the flat side or do you put it on the bubble side? Because I usually put it on the bubble side, but there's some times where it just feels more secure when I don't. Oh, the RCA MM36100s? Are those the ones that some of them can be multi-format, right? I think those are the ones where not all of them are, but some of them could do 480p and 240p, and that's one of the few that actually works on 240p. Could be wrong. All right, one strip of bubble wrap. All we need, right? Okay. The bubble should touch the box. Interesting. Oh, multiple people do that. Belmont, you are a glass blower too? Dude, we definitely gonna do a podcast sometime and shoot the shit. And I still need, if I ever could afford it, I still need advice on what to do about a new concrete thing for outside of my house. That's not gonna be this year though. That's probably gonna be a couple of years away if I could do it. All right, I know that was slightly off camera, but I folded the bottom like a present. We're gonna start the other way and just keep going. I had a friend of mine order a super fancy absinthe lathing kit from France, and it was like, imagine one of those crazy bongs that, you know, that has like 7 or 8 different contraptions, but super thin, like ridiculously thin. And I was just laughing, like there's zero chance that's making it from France. There's no way. And it did. It was shipped perfectly. And it didn't even look like it was shipped that well, but the packing material was built specifically for it. So it had styrofoam that it fit into, and I don't even think there was bubble wrap, but it made sense. Somebody put some real thought into that. So, but yeah, it survived. And he has a super fancy absinthe lathing kit that I'm sure absinthe connoisseurs would hate me for saying this, but makes it taste exactly the same as if you just put a cube of ice in it and poured slowly over the cube of ice. I've been drinking that stuff since before it was legal in the U.S., and I have never found a major difference, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just don't have the taste buds for it. All right. Yeah, Belmont, I'll definitely hit you up after your season's completely over, though. I'm not going to ask you to hang out and talk after an exhausting day of smashing shit. Although you must have much less anger issues than most people. By the end of the day, you just... Whoever that person on the internet that pissed you off was, you just aim down, pretend it was them, and made life a little easier. All right, so this is already getting very fluffy around the sides. Like, this is cool. I'm digging this. I'm definitely digging this. This is exactly what I was hoping for. And hopefully people that tuned in at the beginning, or who saw me just put that into a tiny box, are seeing this. Because that first box isn't, like, don't think of that as the box it ships in. Think of that as basic protection for the glass, but also what you wrapped that saran wrap around. So if this thing goes underwater, there's actually a chance it will survive, as opposed to zero chance whatsoever. Oh, I hope I can finish this up with enough time to check out that NES. I'm so curious what the hell happened. The inner vault. Yeah, there you go. All right, let me scoot that back a little more. I bought a 20-inch BVM off of eBay a couple of years ago. Honest seller, amazing packing job. It took a solid hour to unpack it. And I asked how long it took to pack it, and they're like, "Oh, hours. Multiple hours to get that done." And it really showed. Like, it absolutely showed. That thing arrived perfect. No need to do that kind of crazy build a wooden box for a 9-inch, but I would like to go overkill, because when we did something similar on a 14-inch, it didn't really, or a 20-inch, it didn't really survive. The double bubble wrap, double box thing. So I want to go a little extra on this. Hey, what's up, Mike? A little overzealous with that one. Make sure if I can get that a little better on stream. The battery seems to be holding up. That's nice. Watch, as soon as I aim this thing down, the battery's going to die. There. I'm going to get a little more of that in view, at least. It's a Wii balance board for... I got to do a Wii stream soon and sell off an extra Wii as well. Unless anybody just wants one. Oh, no, because I have to do... I actually have two things of Electron Shepherds to test. I got to retest that Wii to HDMI, and there's another thing as well, so I should... I'm backed up so long, and now being sick just made it way worse, so hopefully I can get to all those within the next couple of weeks. A lot of cool stuff coming out that I want to show people. A lot of cool stuff at all price points, not just expensive stuff. I like both kinds. I don't mind spending money for something that I truly appreciate, but sometimes I just want to get it done, and cheap stuff that doesn't have any lag, it doesn't destroy the signal, it's always appreciated. Ariel, that's exactly right. This is $50 from Home Depot. The buyer of this thing is completely aware of what I'm about to do, so they'll reimburse me for it. So let's see. We have a solid inch of bubble wrap around this, but let's see how much space is left in this. Do I have room for more, or is this going to be... I think I have room for one more, and then we could really start to utilize that styrofoam. Y'all getting that in view? Because here's where I don't want the box to start bulging. I'm actually wondering if I should just put it right down and see what this is. Yeah, that is actually starting to cut it real close. Funny enough, you know how many times I've had people ship me stuff and I open the box and this is what I see? Yeah, it's bubble wrapped, but it's bouncing around inside. Shit like that blows my mind. So let's try and be a little bit lazy and just see if we could reuse some of this. Yeah, I mean, it's going to need more, but absolutely. We could certainly put the final cap on when we're done. We just need to fill it with more stuff. So, actually, I don't want to push it, but that would work. That would definitely work. I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to do it, but that would totally work. But I'm not cheesing out. I'm just going to put that in another box. So let's see what I got to fill this sucker with. I've got more bubble wrap, and I think I have more boxes and more cardboard I could use too. Let me, well, you know, I also have a ton of this, which I would not use. I wouldn't use this to protect the monitor, but if the purpose is to prevent the things inside from bumping around, I actually think that's going to be a good use of this stuff. So let me just start stuffing this in and see how secure we can get it. Yeah, that's actually working out pretty perfect. Everybody always says pool noodles, and those definitely work, but it's cost versus return. I'm positive if you're talking about a 20-inch monitor, yeah, absolutely do that. But a 9-inch, I mean, this thing isn't even really that heavy, all things considered. Like I on a regular basis ship stuff that's heavier than this. It's just not as fragile. It doesn't have a million parts in it, but the actual weight isn't really outrageous. 14-inch, I don't know. I would have to defer to Steve for that one. Would a 14-inch really require pool noodles, or would that be good enough if you just had this stuff in it? All right, so let me see if I can pull this a little bit closer. Sorry for the shaky cam, everybody. Couch cushion, oh, absolutely. That's that for a bigger monitor, no doubt. I actually, when I was like 19, I shipped a guitar and I didn't have anything other than a big box. So I took old clothes that didn't fit me anymore, like everything, jeans, boxer shorts, t-shirts. I wrapped it, and when the person received it, I got an email from him on eBay, and I was like, oh God, what broke? Were they mad? And they're like, that was the best shipped guitar I've ever bought in my entire life. I was like, all right, well, that's cool. Holy crap, Orange, thank you so much. That is awesome. Very, very awesome super chat. If I wasn't still sick, I would absolutely be running out and grabbing beers with that. But you know what? Not the same, good enough. Cheers to you, my friend. Might not be alcoholic, But at least it's blue, and everything blue tastes better. Oh, so this is going to be, that's going to be important. Filling that top spot. All right. You get some more of these in there. Yeah, that should pretty much do it. That actually went so far pretty smoothly, all things considered. We still have the NES issue to tackle. However, let's put one piece of tape on it and see how secure this actually is, and then we'll go from there. Yeah. All right, I will continue to tape this afterwards, but I want to see if this flops around when I pick it up. Let me move the camera back a bit so you get a better view of it. Not a dumb question at all. Spray wall insulation and spray foam and all of that stuff, that does work. However, while I'm not an expert, after shipping a few of these, I would strongly recommend double boxing. So in the case of spray foam, I would probably do a slightly bigger box than the one I had here. I would still put one thing of bubble wrap, or if it's a bigger than a 14-inch, definitely pool floats and stuff like that around it. I'd still do the industrial strength saran wrap around that, and then I would fill the bottom of the box with some spray foam, of the bigger box, put the smaller box in, and then fill around that, and that should be okay. But I wouldn't just like put the monitor in and fill it with foam. I still would want it double boxed. Now, I'm not a shipping expert. I'm just somebody that's done this a bunch of times. So if there's anybody up here or on here that's done this before, please let me know. Now let me just do a shake test. Nothing. There is such minimal movement. Wow, I got lucky. I usually have to reopen this and start shifting stuff around, but that is very cool. All right, more tape. And then we'll weigh it. And then I'll take a quick look at that NES, see if I could just fix that on stream real quick. Oh, Kevin, the one that you're talking about comes packaged as a bag and mold to anything and then expands. I don't think I've seen that before. I think I've literally seen the thing that looks like a foam gun, but it like a foamer if you're washing your car with foam type of thing, but it's foam. Like shipping foam. I know I just keep saying the word foam. Shit, I still am sick. I'm trying to remember what it was called, because we had one in the we used it to ship the computers I used to make. We had one in our North Carolina facility. Forgot what it was called, but it was basically that. But it was the same theory in that our the foam was for bulk shipments. So we would put 5 computers in pre-cut styrofoam. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They were thin. They were all-in-one touchscreens. Then that box would be covered, and then we would foam around that. The one thing I never really understood is how many people skimp on tape. I had an old boss that was like, "Why are you using so much tape? That stuff's expensive. You know, all you need is a couple pieces." I'm like, if you're shipping, especially back then, like you're shipping a couple of grand worth of stuff, you're gonna cry about a $5 roll of tape? put one big one around. Now, I'm pretty sure you could, you might not be able to see on stream. There are staples, industrial staples, holding the seam together. So the tape isn't holding the box together. The tape is just reducing the amount of pressure on the staples. But they're double stapled, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 10 total staples. So this is overkill, but like I said, I mean, if you're the person receiving this, would you have rather spent $5 more on tape, or would you rather risk, the box popping open? All right, now definitely reinforcing the bottom. That's another thing I see people do when they reuse boxes, is they forget to put more tape on the bottom, forgetting that it could have gotten beat up. Here's a question for shipping experts, though. Any reason to remove the tape that was on there before adding new? I've never done that unless it's the type of packing tape that, like, peels up. And that's the only time I've ever removed before adding new. And this is pretty sturdy, but I'm still going to throw just a couple. Hey, Elrond, how's it going? My camera went on again, didn't it? Well, I think the other battery might be, let's flip this battery out with the original one that has a little bit of charge, and I'll just keep swapping. All right, put this one back on charge, and we'll just keep going back and forth. Hey, what's Oliver? What's up, Oliver? Thank you so much for the super chat. Yeah, Ash Evans stole my AC adapter for my camera, so I have to be just using batteries here. Not sure why Ash would do that to me, but one of these days I'll find where I put it. I don't know why I always blame Ash for stuff. It's just because he lives so far away, and it's absolutely impossible for him to have done that. I think that's why I think it's funny. What's messed up is if we ever get to hang out, Ash is just going to start to steal shit all around my house, or like put things in different spots just to mess with me. Be like, ha, blaming me for all that stuff, I'll show you. All right, I think this is in pretty damn good shape. Spade, I'm using a Panasonic Lumix GH5. It's the best camera I've ever used. I know there's new ones. I know they're supposedly better, but I don't have the budget to upgrade, and this one's been absolutely awesome. And I have the AC adapter for it. I've used it for years, and I used to always keep it right behind my monitor, so whenever I was doing a live stream, I could just grab the AC adapter and be done. Yet somehow, it's gone. All right. Let's see what this sucker weighs. $25.2. Yeah, so I ship stuff that weighs more than this all the time. I have the utmost confidence this one's going to survive. Or, try it again. Let me center that a little bit more. I get two different readings. 25.2, so I'm just going to say 25.5 pounds, just to make it easier. Let me give myself a note here. That's funny, Belmont. I didn't even think of that, but I can't imagine the person who's getting this one would have wanted video proof that I packed it well, but yeah, that's actually, I'm really glad you mentioned that. This is a cool thing. Now I get to just send them a link to this live stream and be like, here's your monitor. What I was actually thinking wasn't so much the person getting this, but if I ship this UPS and UPS is like, nah, it must have been broken before you shipped it, I'd have been like, oh, really? Well, what's with this live stream then? All right, one last little piece of tape just for good measure. And let me see if I get those anti-static bags. Ugh. Have those right here, I hope. I always save extras. All right. This one, it's that 129X card. Congratulations, you're over 40. You now have indigestion for the rest of your life. Yeah, it's basically true. I was talking to Clint Cronin. I don't know if anybody remembers the interview I did, and I was just joking around. I was like, dude, you probably have so many MMA injuries. Like my knee just started hurting at Retro World for no reason. Like, any thoughts on how that could happen? He's like, yeah, you're old. That's how that could happen. What do you think? You just passed 40 a couple years ago. You're gonna wake up every morning for the rest of your life and be like, why does that hurt? Guess that's just how it is now. I still have no idea what the hell I did to my knee. It started hurting like the day before Retro World, and then it just kept getting worse. And at one point, after standing in the booth all day, like I kind of did like one of these, like, whoa, what happened to my knee? And Chris from Displaced Gamers was standing next to me. He's like, are you okay? I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm fucking old. All right, power supply and cards. All right, so that's all I needed for the anti-statics. You know what's funny is I actually think, just by coincidence, the bag that I keep my anti-static bags in is an anti-static bag. There is no static anywhere near this bag. Lightning could strike the box that this in. Anything in these bags would be completely fine. Yeah, this one's only going to take a sec. I just want to... here... Hey, sure. How's it going? You got nachos from Taco Bell, Ash? Ooh. I'm more of like, Taco Bell is the only fast food I actually like. I know as a fat guy that might seem weird, think I just eat that stuff all the time, but I love steak and like, I do like sweets, especially after the end of the night when I smoke. And that's like the number one, it's really the only negative side effect of weed for me. Because I don't go overboard, I don't go crazy, I only smoke at night. I'm not, respect anybody that does. No shade thrown if that's your thing. But the only negative side effect is the munchies. So I do get it with sweets, but I mostly just like good food. But when I go to Taco Bell, it's chalupas and gorditas and all the stuff with like a bunch of crap all in it. Vinny, I've thrown my back out brushing my teeth. I think I've told this story before, but I used to work with a person who, she was just kind of notorious for being out for 2 weeks at a time, and no one really knew was she full of it or not. And she calls in sick one time because she threw her back out opening a jar of peanut butter. Supposedly, that was the story. And I was always kind of a little asshole, so when she came back to work, I was just like, hey, is it true that you threw your back out opening a jar of peanut butter? And she burst out laughing, and she was like, yeah, but no. She's like, I've had severe back problems. I was in a really bad car accident a couple years ago. And yes, I, squeezed too hard opening a jar of peanut butter, and that's what set it off. She was like, but I wasn't perfectly healthy and hurt my back on a jar of peanut butter. She's like, I don't know who told you that. I guess somebody's mad at me for calling out again. She's like, but that was legit. That wasn't the peanut butter. That was something else. So, like, oh, okay. Well, that actually makes sense. Shake, shake, shake. Nothing flopping around. All right, 2 boxes. Why not? 2 more on the bottom. Yeah, that's not moving. Excellent. Monty, you just hit 50 and you're having trouble with whiskey. Instant reflux. Some things have always kind of given me instant reflux. Even, even when I wasn't an old man. So I don't know. I think some people react differently to that. I am going to wash my hands just in case I don't want to smudge up the NES. I will keep talking through it so anybody just joining won't think I forgot to turn my mic off and I'm peeing right now. Although that's probably going to happen at some point during my live streams. So I don't think I'll be able to make it as many years as I've been doing this without forgetting to take my mic off before peeing, but just washing my hands. Right. Oliver, random question. Any good 4K 120 HDMI switches for gaming? So Oliver, thank you so much for the super chat. Really, really, really appreciate those. I am on it. I'm working my butt off to try to find exactly that. But based on specs alone, probably not. But I've been talking to a bunch of these companies, and all of the ones that are just the white box rebranders, always their reply is basically identical. Like, oh, thank you for your interest. We will let our team know, and they will take that into consideration for their, But I have actually hit 1 or 2 that are like, well, what do you need it for, and what's the quantities? Which is always a sign of a company that wants to work with you. Because if your quantities are 7, they're going to tell you to get the hell out of here. But I actually think there's a need for not only that, but I specifically think there is a need for matrix switches. And there are a couple of 4x2s, but I think, especially if you have, like, what if you're getting the RetroTink 4K, and then what if you're also planning on getting multiple monitors, and you're a streamer? So you're going to want to loop one output through the Tink. Now you have, let's say, a projector and an OLED TV, so that's 2. And now what about streaming? 3, so that's 4. So I think there's a need for an 8x4 or even a 12x4, but we're just going to have to convince people that that's what we need it for. As far as other ones, I've seen matrix switches that are 4K 120 that will do it, that are only 4x2. And I've seen basic switches that supposedly will work. The Amazon reviews are mixed, though. The Amazon reviews will say things like, it worked with everything except my 4K 120 source. So I don't know if that's BS or not. But I mean, whenever you read these Amazon reviews, I've read reviews for the wrong product before. And I don't know whose fault it is. And I'm not trying to make a joke. I mean, did somebody accidentally post a review on the wrong product? Did somebody post a review on the correct product, but Amazon associated it with the wrong product? I've definitely seen that with other Amazon stuff. So it's really hard to take some of those reviews seriously because you never know where they're coming from. Okay. It's around. I can't spin something around without hearing the O2's version of Spin Me Right Round. That was the song that I used with permission, by the way, but that was that silly I just got tired of a bunch of trolls in the RT 4K video comments, so I just did that video, that stupid social media video of like, what's better than one RetroTink 4K? Two, and I just showed the video of it spinning around in the white box. That was that guy O2, and he basically did "You Spin Me Right Round" as if Rammstein did it, and he did it perfect. And I could never hear that song or spin something around without hearing his version of that song ever again. Okay, let's flip this over. Careful, careful, careful. Where are all the screws? There's always one. All right. Don't lose these. Let me check the chat real quick. Hey, what's up, JB? Thanks so much for swinging by. Real Phoenix has an Onkyo. Oh, you're talking about a receiver that does HDMI switching in 4K 120. Have you been able to test the latency on that? Because I've tested every receiver I could come in contact with. I've brought lag testing devices to friends' houses for years now, which some get annoyed, but most just think it's amusing that I'm such a freaking nerd. And unless the receiver actually says 1080p upscaling or 4K upscaling or something, it's never added latency before. The only time, but on the flip side, that's only HDMI. When you're talking analog, it's the opposite. It always adds latency every time. I've never once seen an AVR that didn't add shitloads of latency, like 10 frames. But if you think about it, those were designed so you could say, hey, you know, you still have an old VCR, an old DVD player, you still want to watch your old content, just put it through this. And it did a fine job. Not the best, but for a feature that was built in, it's totally fine. But it's never designed for gaming, ever. Even when you, if ones have a game mode, it's almost always only for HDMI, and that's usually just on the ones that say scaling, and that just turns the scaling off. I guess I could use my power screwdriver on the rest. Rick Astley. Somebody sent me a video of him from like 2019, and he grew into his voice. Like, it looks like he's supposed to be singing that now. Like, it's not funny seeing him sing it now, whereas that video of that redheaded child from the 80s singing that song, it's like that face did not match that voice at all. And now it totally does. Okay. All right. Carefully. This off. Okay. Carefully wiggle this out. The longer side hangs over the top. This is brand new. This has 3 insertions on it. However, check out, see if I could focus on this. Is it still in auto mode? Of course it's still. Second. Where are we? So you see the oxidation on that? I think that might actually be the issue. So why don't you all hang out with me for a moment and let's see if we could fix this with my usual methods. Brasso and 80 grit sandpaper. No, I'm kidding. Here's my pink pencil eraser. I know I have that somewhere. Did you all see that GameSack video of how to clean your game cartridges? Joe's made some amazing videos, but that is by far my favorite. It is just so freaking funny when he gets out the cheese grater, and then but that part where he's like, well, you know, if older consoles need to have more abrasion, so if we want to do this, we want 80 grit, right? We should use 80 grit sandpaper on this. I was just crying, laughing when I saw that one. All right, careful, careful. I don't think I need to remove it. I think I could just very carefully fold this over. Yeah, so there's already a difference. I'm not sure if there's an easy way to do this on camera. Let me try to sort of. Any other large-bellied individuals knows exactly what I'm about to do. Use my gut to hold it in place. Yeah. Oh, battery, damn it. All right, hold on, I'm on it. I'm on it. The stream hopefully won't be going on much longer. If we fix this, that'll just be it, but sorry about that. Throwing the sucker back in. We got nothing. Damn it. Try it again. I don't know why this one's not working. This was just charged. Off. Go back on again. Here we go. Nothing. Come on. Yeah, I mean, let's all right, let's see what I could do to just at least keep this going, because we only have a couple moments until we find out if this works. And I know the suspense is killing at least one of you fellow nerds of mine that wants to know if this actually worked. Let me just look. So, not there. I'm going to do another run around to see where Ash stuck my charger. Over there. I actually think the last time I saw it was when Shank was over. It would be very funny if Shank accidentally stole it and put it in his bag or something. Or he was pranking me. That's definitely a Shank thing to do. It would be very funny if that was the case. Right. Just doing a quick run around. The other battery's charging. This one seems to not be working. If you were a small charger in my house, where would you be? That's not there. Not there or there. Come on. On a ledge somewhere, maybe? No. I'm sorry, everybody. This sucked. I really was hoping to finish this up with all of you. I could grab a webcam, but it would probably take longer than just trying to find where the stupid charger went. No. I'm going to keep annoyingly talking too, so everybody knows that the stream isn't dead yet. I mean, it is one of my streams. That's probably how it's going to end. Look over in this pile where I keep my camera stuff. Anywhere near any of it. A total disappointment. Up there. I wish there was a different way to charge the GH5. Like if I could use just use like a USB or something like that. I think that would be much cooler, but damn. Josh, I thought Bob always worked pantsless. Not for live streams. But I gotta say, the boxers I wear look like most people's gym shorts. So if I did do one in pantsless, you probably wouldn't know, because I'm not a tighty whitey guy. No disrespect if you would like your boys hugged. I just like them free. Oh man, what a pain in the ass this is. Can't believe that. I'm really just checking the only spots they could have ever been in, and they're not there. It's so weird. Here's the power strip I used to plug it in when Shank was here. Nothing. Did it fall behind something? Always a possibility, I guess, but no, it doesn't seem to be. Let me crawl under one more spot, and then I'll plug that other battery in for a second. Well, I did find some cables that were missing. Okay, well, something. Music, camera. Man, all right. Well, I'm going to try to throw that other battery back in one last time and cross my fingers. What a weird bunch of crap. Hey, Shifty Jedi, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Shifty's cousin recently lost his 20 years young CRT. He bought a used 480i Sony Trinitron. He's getting a lot of screen tearing. Can this be fixed with something like the Tink 2X? So, can you just please describe a little bit more what you mean by screen tearing? Because that usually is something that happens on flat panels or in capture. So maybe just give me a little more details and I could help you out. The most common thing I see is when geometry is off. No battery power remains, son of a bitch. When geometry is off, that's when you often end up seeing stuff like, it almost looks like a warped projector screen, where it's not actually smooth scrolling from left to right. It's like wiggling back and forth at the same time. I've definitely seen that. Oh boy. Well, embarrassing live stream faux pas again. Can't get through any of these without something going tits up. Well, I guess let me try the webcam. And hold on a second. Let me see. Yeah, let me just try one quick thing. All right, so let me get the camera out the way. This should work. This should work. All right. Oop, Gatorade down. Luckily that top was still on. All right, I think this is gonna work. We should be back in 1 second here. Let me capture device, unless it crashes the stream, but you know. Okay, I think we got it. Yeah. Okay. I think we should be back, sorta, maybe. Let me just try to hit up auto focus, and we should be done. Video. Okay. I think we're back. Screen tearing with NES and SNES. Let me continue to see. Yeah, Shifty, I'd love to, I would love to help out with that. I'm not really sure. You would have to just give a little bit more of a description, because I'm not really sure where to start looking for that. If you're talking about like a line down the center of a screen, that could just be, they could be talking about the SNES white line issue. There could be a lot of little things there that they could be describing. So I would love to be able to help, and I do really appreciate the super chat. I don't want to give you bad advice. By the way, this is what I was trying to show you before when the stream died. The top of that eraser is basically just black now. So this is definitely a needed process. You need to scrub this a little bit. I'll flip it over and do the other side too. So one thing you'll notice I'm doing, right? I'm wiping off the stuff, the little leftover bits of the pink eraser with my finger. Except that's really bad because your finger has oils on them. But I'm not done. I'm also going to be using isopropyl. So don't ever touch the contacts last. Always make sure that the last thing that touches it is whatever you're using to clean it. So I'm going to use isopropyl right after this, but let me scrub this down, because not only would this explain why it sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, but this would also explain why it suddenly worked when I switched the 72-pin connector, because whatchamacallit, because just moving the connector back and forth across this would kind of scuff this up enough. Yeah, this is just dark black. So let me continue to scrub. And these are not hard gold, and these do not have a coating on them. So this would actually be the only time that, if nothing else worked, I might actually use something like Brasso on it. Because the main thing about Brasso, well, the couple of things about it. First of all, if you don't clean it off perfectly, the microscopic bits will continue to corrode anything that touches it, including your games. But the other part is that when you use abrasive cleaner like that, it removes the clear coating over the pins, it removes that protective coating, and then you get corrosion even more than you used to. That's just a tape-headed cleaner and some isopropyl. So you never ever want to use Brasso on carts unless it's to get rid of like rust and stuff. But even with that, you could use sandpaper, but you might not even want to use that cartridge anymore, because at that point, what you end up doing is just exposing that to other stuff. So it's a rare occasion where you would actually want to use abrasives, and this might be one of them. But you know, this is getting pretty clean. So we might get lucky just by doing it this way. Yeah, even after all that, it's still nasty. So let me grab another one. Yeah, no, it's okay, Shifty. I just really wish I could help out for that, because there's so many different things that it could be. If you're talking about a 480i Trinitron CRT, like a Sony branded CRT with my favorite are the curved tubes with the black plastic casing that kind of taper off. Like, if there's the top of it, it'll drop off and back, and then taper off where the tube actually sticks back. That should never have issues like that. And it's very easy to say, oh, we'll just do a cap replacement, but that's not easy. And on top of that, how do you know it's actually going to fix it? So, I get wet? No. I'm running out. I got to get more. There we go. Okay, now we're talking. Now it's getting dark, but not like it was before. So that is awesome. So we're almost clean. Yeah. All right. I'll give it one more just to dry it, and we can try this sucker out. Gotta buy more of these. I'm running low. Okay. Unlike before, now there's actually no dark coming off. And the pins look a lot cleaner. I'll hold it up to the camera in a second. And I think I got all the isopropyl dried around the board. How absolutely not funny would it be if it was still wet when I turned it on and it shorted it out after all this? I guess it'd be funny to somebody, just not me. All right, so I'm actually going to just put this stuff away in order to give that a moment to dry. And in fact, I'll set up the RT4K real quick so that we could see this thing in action plugged into that, if it's working or not. That's how we'll test it, is with the capture card. It's Mike. Yeah, not Q-tips. Those were not Q-tips. You know, I had an inner ear thing a couple months ago, and I went to the doctor, and the ENT was like, "Oh yeah, we have an appointment available 3 months from now or something." I don't know if doctors like that in all your areas, but it's been like that for a couple years now, where you might as well just die or go to the hospital because you're not going to get into your doctor. And I was like, well, all the problems went away, so basically thanks for nothing. And he's like, yeah, well, do you use Q-tips? I was like, yeah, of course. And he's like, well, that's really bad. I was like, didn't 1 minute ago you just compliment me on how clean my ears are? He's like, well, I mean, I'm like, no. You can't do both. You can't say I have clean ears and then tell me never to use Q-tips. Why do you think I have clean ears? So I don't know. Maybe there's a doctor in the chat that could school me on this one, but I didn't. I just thought that was kind of ironic and amusing. Oh, I'm standing right in front. Ash, you ever see that? What was that Claire Danes movie where they were in prison? I think in Thailand or something for smuggling drugs, and the chick ended up with a roach in her ear. Yeah, you think a spider nest in your ear is bad? That one was a horrible scene. Once again, I'm just killing a tiny bit of time to make sure that that's completely dry, so I don't turn the power on for a machine that might have a tiny little bit of isopropyl still on. Because when I dipped the last tape swab eraser thing in there, a bunch of liquid did kind of spill on the board, which is totally safe. It's just you don't want to power it on when there's still liquid. Just giving it a moment or two to air dry is all you need. Right. I'll be checking the chat in a second. Putting this crap away. Still wondering what on earth could have happened to that stupid AC adapter. I guess I gotta just buy another one. But you all know what's gonna happen, right? The moment that one arrives, the new one arrives. Actually, no. The moment that the return period on the new one ends, the old one's gonna show up somewhere. You know that's gonna happen. It always happens that way. You call them cotton buds in the UK? We have cotton balls here, but they're as literal as they sound. Wadded up balls of cotton that you use for... Actually, I don't really know what you would use it for. I don't think I've ever really used those. The NES power here. Q-tip is a pool cue. That's funny. All right, that looks like it's pretty much dried. Let me grab this stuff out of the way. Guess I don't need this extra box too. Box of rosé wine. I don't know. Over here at the liquor stores, when you buy a bunch of stuff, and they, instead of giving you bags, they reuse the boxes that they get for other stuff. So plenty of times my friends have come over and been like, "Why are you drinking?" And whatever the beach rosé wine, and I'm like, it's the box. It's just the box. Zipping this thing up real quick. Ah, come on. Love this thing. That saved me so much time. Okay, I'm going to wash my hands one more time. Just a friendly reminder, not peeing, washing my hands. That way I don't scuff up the clear case with any of the black stuff that I pulled off of that cartridge connector. I would do that even if it wasn't the clear case, though. Imagine if you have a perfectly gray, non-yellowed at all case for your console, and you just touch it with some grease, and that's it. Screwed. That would really piss me off. All right. So, bring that back on. Everything lined up nice. Oh, wait. Yep, always double check. Always. Now no wires are getting pinched. Let me get the tray in too. And for anybody wondering, this has got the NES RGB installed, and it also has the Famicom expansion audio connected with the proper resistor for balancing, right? And it's got the Real Phoenix's NES I/O board attached to it, so that you could remove the RF jack and replace it with this, so that you could have a no-cut mod that gets the that breaks out S-Video and a Genesis 2 style mini DIN to the back. All right, I think we're perfect. We bolt this sucker in. So anybody who's ever replaced this, whenever you tighten the screws for the cartridge tray, don't ever tighten them, and then back it out a quarter turn. I've had a lot of issues over the years, even with completely stock ones, where the tray sticks or just doesn't seem to work right. Maybe there's a better way to fix that, but that's always been my thing. Never down 100%. A little reverse turn after. Go. Okay. This one. It's actually not even down all the way. That's kind of the one thing about these Retro Gamer Store cases, is because you have to put some pressure when tightening them down because it's new plastic. So I'm always extra careful about torquing it down too much. Giving the motherboard a little wiggle is always a good thing. A tiny bit of play is fine, but not more than that. Okay, a couple more screws, and we get to plug this thing in and see what happens. This one's also using the much more expensive DC to DC converter to try and prevent any power noise, and it never has had power noise. I thought that worked really well. Last screw up here. Okay. Top cover. Real Phoenix, if you jump back on, if this still doesn't work, I'm just going to mail it to you. Mail it to you and cry. For anybody that doesn't know the backstory, this is the original NES I had when I started RetroRGB. Not my childhood one. I ended up selling all of that, but when I first started the website, I bought another one, and I was using it for a while, and then I sent it to Jason from Game Tech to do the Play Choice 10 mod, which was expensive. Not that Jason charged too much; he charged exactly what he should have, but it's not a cheap mod. Because back then too, when Jason did it, you had to hand wire everything. There weren't easy boards to do it. So then after that, then it became the test bed for a bunch of other stuff, the stereo audio mod, and then a few other things. So all in all, including this NES RGB kit, including the Real Phoenix board, and the issues that we had, and having to have Jose redo the mod for me a bunch of times, there's well over $1,000 into this NES. Like not even close to exaggerating. So when somebody offered me what it's worth, I'm not ripping anybody off, but I'm also not getting ripped off. I was just like, that's such a fair price. It's basically exactly what you would pay if you bought all these components individually and paid a good modder to put it together for you. But it's still so much of a loss. It's obviously the person who's buying it. It's not their fault, but it's just one of those things that kind of cracks me up. Like, oh, how much money was dumped into this? And yeah, you could look at it as, well, I needed that to test that stuff for the site, but it still stings a bit. All right, last 2 screws. I'm doing these by hand, both because the shaft on the electric screwdriver won't fit, but also because I don't want to over tighten and put that little divot in the top plastic. Those always drive me crazy. Okay. Go. Looking good. So to get this in, I'm actually gonna, the way this is all set up, I have to switch over to the Tink before I move something else over. So let me just do that now real quick and go from there. All right, that's powered on. Uh, so okay, we're in for that. Put selection. I'm gonna leave this here so I'm not gonna leave it on the black screen so people don't think that the stream crashed or anything like it usually does. Let me grab it. Got the NES. I got Contra. Okay, plugging this in, plugging this in. Oh man, I'm nervous. I really hope that's all it was. And oh yeah. Ah, look at that. That's nice. That makes me happy. Let's let that play for a second. Oh man, that's really cool. Josh, whoa, shit, hold on, one of my cameras almost fell over. Mike honestly doesn't know. It's more than likely going to be this year, but the parts haven't arrived yet, so that's always a thing. Anybody that's ever dealt with manufacturing knows the horror of that stuff. But yeah, it's basically, it should be this year. There's no reason why it wouldn't be this year, but you never really know, so Mike doesn't want to promise anything just to not disappoint anybody. But it should be this year. Yeah, other camera's about to fall. That's really cool. I really hope that's all this was, and this is just a fixed issue now. But I guess let's try something else. Let's let Contra run for just a second while I make sure my camera doesn't fall over. I think I have to just move my camera altogether for today. I still never found a better way to mount it. It is still quite literally sitting on top of a reel of CDs. Anybody that saw the room tour, feel free to laugh. I just never found anything better. All right, let me grab a couple of things. Get a controller. I got my EverDrive. Right. So, if this all works, I'm going to try 1 or 2 games just to confirm. If anybody has any other questions or anything else, now is definitely the time. I wanted to try to be done before the Shiro podcast or live stream started, but I think it's going to overlap a couple minutes. My apologies to the crew. I love those guys. I don't mean any offense by this. I just was hoping to get this done. All right, so now we're going to try the EverDrive N8 Pro, and that's excellent. So let's try Arkanoid. Ooh, okay, I have an Arkanoid controller I want to try here with this. Does this have to be plugged in? Anybody remember the Arkanoid controller? Does it have to be plugged into the second controller port or the first? I think the second one. Yes, okay. As long as it's plugged into the second, it still goes as a one-player thing. Oh, this is cool. Has anybody ever used the Arkanoid controller with NES before? Oh man, this thing's so neat. Oh, Taito. These Arkanoid controllers are pretty expensive, but I definitely would recommend trying one out if you ever get a chance to. You could use a spinner controller on the Mister. What I'd like to do before I send this one out to my friend is try to tune the spinner I have to run at the same reaction time as the original, and then just share that setting for anybody that has the same brand spinner as mine. What are my top 5 third-party controllers? Top 35. I actually like to mostly stick with original. It's rare that I'll go with a third party. But to be honest, my answer is going to be cheesy and probably annoying. The only third-party controllers I really like to use are custom-made arcade sticks for arcade games. And those are just ones that use good, whatever quality buttons that you like, buttons and stick. That's basically it. So Wu-Tang controller is the best third-party controller. There's nothing to fuck with. Wizard hats? They do kind of look a little like wizard hats. Yeah, this game, so much different with the spinner. Like, you can't even compare. That is really cool. One more level, one more save, just for the hell of it. And is there anything anybody else wants to see on this before I just call the stream? Protect your neck, you damn right. That first album is still a masterpiece. And if you have the ability to listen to it on cassette on a good analog stereo, I can't recommend it enough. I would never tell anybody to go buy a new stereo and a cassette version of that just to hear it, but it's different. It's definitely, you could completely tell the RZA was listening to it and mixing it the entire time over and over on an analog setup. Even gonna beat the first round? I am playing through an OBS window here, so. What's a cassette? You know, it was funny when that company did that bizarre social media post with Steve Urkel in it. I can't tell you how many people I know are like, "What's Steve Urkel?" It made me laugh so hard. Like, you don't have any clue who your target audience is, do you? Your target audience was playing PS2 when they were teenagers. They've never seen a Steve Urkel. So, does anybody know how much different this is from the arcade version? And also, are there any other games that work with the Arkanoid controller? I'm going to throw up one or two more games just to make sure this thing's working. But it looks like it's working. So, we'll reset. Okay. Um, yeah, but Ash, you're like my age. That's different. Always cracks me up playing Sega on an NES. I'll end this in like 1 minute. So just last thing, if anybody has any questions or anybody knows any other spinner games I could use to test the spinner controller out, let me know please. But otherwise, we'll be out of here in a second. Actually, I mean we're showing the tank here, so let me at least. X. These are a couple weeks old, so hopefully you won't be mad at me, but it's 10x. Now, all right, so this is the one with the perfect aspect ratio. And yeah, you know what? I rarely use these. Let's give this a shot. Chase HQ? Oh, okay, awesome. Chase HQ must be Japan. No, I don't see it. Unless I'm looking right at it or something. So, you know what? I just want to Arkanoid 2, right? Where is it? I've never, oh, wrong button. I've never gotten it to work with the spinner controller. Never. So, nothing. Right now, it's not working at all. And somebody said you needed some patches for it or something. Let me just look it up. List of NES spinner games. Yeah, it's not even on there. Well, all of this was awesome. I can't thank you enough for hanging out with me. I don't want to cut into the Shiro's live stream anymore because they're awesome and I want to support them, not take away from them. So go check out the Shiro crew if you're into that stuff. I will hopefully see you in a couple of days with a Sega Master System stream with the one and only Stika. Because there's no possible way I could do an SMS stream without Stika. It's like illegal these days. So you're all awesome. I can't thank you enough for joining me and helping me just chill and pretend that I'm not really freaking sick. So you're all the best. Thank you so much. And I will see you all. Oh, Taito Chase HQ. Well, shit, hold on. Now I got to just at least look for one quick second here. But I'll head out to this one. AI, right? And all All right, I don't think this is gonna work because it's also Japan, but we'll try it. Nope. Worth trying, but all right. Thank you anyway, AKX.